忍びの時代は終わる。ここまでやるとはな、川木。
Ever since 2017, whenever we get the first episode of the Boruto anime, we get to see Boruto and Kawaki clashing with their karma marks. Konoha is all destroyed. Kawaki makes a statement that may or may not imply that he's killed Naruto, and there's all these crazy things happening, and we just have no idea how we get there. So today, me and Troy, we're just gonna go over a few ideas we have as to how we get to that point in the future, how Boruto and Kawaki are able to use their karma marks without seemingly any Otsutsuki drawbacks, what happened to Naruto and Sasuke. We're gonna go over it all. Should be a fairly long video, so obviously like and subscribe because we put a lot of work into this. We've been in call for around like 2 or 3 hours just figuring out like how to put everything together. Go check out Troy's channel. He's starting to do a lot more videos, and I really want him to get to 1K. I don't know if he'll be at 1K by the time I put this out, but the first thing we're going to get started with is just Boruto and Kawaki's strength, because it's fairly ambiguous, and I think to the general community anyway, people think Boruto and Kawaki are a lot stronger than they may actually end up being. The only reason I really want to address this is because I feel like it's going to lead to a lot of disappointment in the future, where people are thinking, like, I've seen multiple TikTok videos where people claim Boruto or Team Boruto is just stronger than Baryon mode Naruto. I personally do not see the reason for that whatsoever. I guess we can also talk about like if Boruto will get the Jogan, things like that, when he'll get it, how he'll get it. But yeah, just for now, we'll talk about Boruto and Kawaki's strength. The main thing to base Boruto and Kawaki's strength off of is the statement that Kawaki makes where he says, I'll send you to the same place I sent the 7th Hokage, right? And then not only that, also the destroyed village around them. That should imply like Kawaki is a bit stronger than the other people in the village. Like he's a bit stronger than like Sai, Shikamaru, all those people, Sakura, Hinata, maybe. Even that's if they did, put up a fight against him, right? Which you'd assume they would if he was trying to destroy the whole village, right? Like these are literally leaf shinobi. They want to protect their home. Kawaki would probably scale over all of those people, right? But the main part there, the part that grabs everyone's attention is the fact that he says he'll send him where he sent Naruto. Because Naruto is like the main powerhouse, right? What do you think that means? Because it can mean a few things. Like, do you think it means he like BFR'd him with karma? Do you think it means...
Personally, what I find the most probable is that Naruto is probably sealed. Because not only is Naruto still extremely strong without Kurama, like he still has Sage Mode. He's even better at Sage Mode now. We see Jigen seal up Naruto, and no one in Konoha has karma or transportation now that Sasuke's Rinnegan is gone. So Kawaki and Boruto would have the only means necessary to get Naruto back.
Yeah, and we don't really know if they can do that alone, right? Like the first time they got Naruto out of the teapot that Jigen used anyway, they like synchronized their karma and brought him out. We don't know if like just one of them could do that, so maybe that's why Boruto hasn't gone to go get Naruto. Obviously, the other interpretation would be that Kawaki just killed Naruto, but Kawaki killing Naruto doesn't really mean too much of anything anymore, since Naruto is just much weaker than he was before. Like, not only is he weaker than Baryon mode by a lot, he's weaker than his normal form by a lot, like KCM, specifically because, he no longer has Kurama, things like that. So those statements aren't indicative of Kawaki and Boruto surpassing Naruto. Now you could say there's maybe an implication of it, or like just some form of like, I don't know, anime main character writing that would necessitate Boruto being stronger than Naruto by this point. But there's nothing like even implicative of that, at least at the time recording this video. The latest chapter of the manga out is chapter 65. So maybe something like that will be hinted at in the future. But for now, there's nothing saying these two have surpassed Baryon mode and Naruto.
And just to add on a little bit more to what Six was saying, Baryon mode, as much as it was hyped up to be like just the peak of Boruto, far above anything Ishiki was capable of, and he's just stated to be the strongest. It would be kind of weird to just have Boruto in a couple of years, him and Kawaki just far surpassing that. It just wouldn't make a lot of sense narrative-wise.
The next thing I was going to get into is like, does Boruto get the Jogan in the manga? Like in the anime, we know he gets the Jogan because we see him with it. But
yeah, even as a kid, he still has the Jogan.
But like, how does he even get it in the manga? Because in the anime, we just see he has it like basically the whole time. Right?
Yeah.
So
his eye does change to the Byakugan and Borushiki anime, but he still has the Jogan. The only way I see them implementing it in the manga is if they somehow. Actually, I don't even see a way they can put it in the manga now. Yeah. It probably just might be anime canon only.
Do you think that Boruto and Kawaki will get new forms, like above Borushiki and Kawashiki?
Yes. The main reason I think this is because right now they're kind of relying on Ishiki and Momoshiki, but like Amato stated in his most recent chapter, that powerlessness caused Kawaki to take the karma for himself and completely weaponize it. Just him alone without the aid of Ishiki or anything like that. So them getting their new forms will kind of just make it their karma instead of Momoshiki and Ishiki's karma.
And you could maybe say like, oh, they're not in those forms at the beginning of the manga. Like in chapter 1, we see the time skip, so maybe they don't have them. I don't think that's implicative of that, because if you know anything about like the writing process of Boruto, the drawing process, Ikimoto loves Dragon Ball. Like he tries to kind of mimic Toriyama's choreography, things like that. And Dragon Ball characters do not go all out from the beginning, right? And we even see like Kawaki and Boruto, they're not in their highest karma forms that we even know of at the beginning of the manga. So I just don't think they're going all out there. And then if we look at people like Jigen, right? Like Jigen gets the karma form that Kawaki has, and then he can just like advance it further. Not only is it just like on both sides of his body, but his horn is larger as well. I definitely think they're gonna get higher form.
I especially agree with this, given how we see Naruto do battle in Boruto, going from base to 6-pass Sage mode to his Karama avatar, like what he did versus Fusion, Momoshiki, and Jigen.
I sort of think as well that Kawaki and Boruto are going to be able to use their dojutsu abilities without the eyes. Like, I know you have a specific argument for this is why Boruto may already be able to do this. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I'm still going to let Troy give it because y'all might agree with him. But I don't think something like this is completely out the question, especially like when we see people like Jigen use Ishiki's ability, even though he doesn't have Ishiki's dojutsu. But you can go ahead and give your argument for why Borushiki can absorb jutsu in one hand and spit it out the other without Rinnegan.
Yeah, so my argument for why he uses Momoshiki's Rinnegan exclusive ability is because we see him use normal Rasengans, and he's able to do what Momoshiki does with like the Tail Beast Bomb, amplifying them several times over. He does this versus Code, and he can even manipulate the size and shape with his new compressed Rasengan. Some people just say this is him putting more chakra into it. Given how is Momoshiki in control of Boruto's body, I just don't find that probable at all. I think he's just using his Rinnegan ability. And also to add on to that, in the first chapter, we see Kawaki with one of Jigen's rods. And I've only ever seen Jigen use Ishiki's ability to summon those rods. So
now, where are Naruto and Sasuke? That's like a big point of contention for the chapter. I know for a while people started to think that Boruto had on Sasuke's cloak at the beginning. We definitely see he has Sasuke's sword. And then we get the statement about Naruto that we sort of touched on earlier, so I won't dwell on that too long on this part. But where actually is Sasuke? I think if either of those two were to die, it would be Sasuke. Now, do we think Sasuke gets a new eye?
Personally, I think he's probably gonna get like another Sharingan to have dual EMS again. If they gave him the Rinnegan back, that whole narrative of stripping Naruto and Sasuke away from their main or most powerful abilities would kind of be redundant. Yeah. So I think if he does get another eye, it's not going to be nearly as powerful as a Rinnegan.
Now, Karamas Return is pretty probable. I'm not going to lie. Like, okay, whenever Biju died, we know Biju can reincarnate, right? But Kurama like burnt away his chakra this time. So maybe he can't come back. We don't really know. But Rin died with the Three Tails, right? And the Raikage implies this as well. He says he's going to kill Naruto. That way the Nine Tails dies. And then the Nine Tails will just have to reform it sometime, right? Because it'll buy them time. With that being said, Kurama may be able to return in possibly like another 2 to 3 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So
what I think personally is because we get a few statements from Amato saying nothing is truly ever gone or nothing is really gone. And while Kurama's chakra is completely burnt up, I'm not sure how the manga looks, but in the anime, we see his spirit go up to the heavens, and he also tells Naruto not to join him too quickly, implying that in spirit, he's still going to be alive. So maybe some reincarnation shit like Indra and Ashura, or like Six said, his chakra just becoming new again might happen. I don't know.
now I think it was sort of like overshadow Kurama's death if he were to just return, right? Like they made it pretty apparent in the anime that this was like an extremely special moment. Like, oh, Kurama's leaving us after he's been with us through literally the entire series, right? I think it would be like a little bit undermined if he would just come back and like, oh, Naruto gets him back, blah, blah, blah. I think if Kurama comes back, he's not going to have any of his memories. It's going to be a completely new Kurama.
And what will also happen, he will be a lot weaker because we know he grew big and strong from hatred. So not only would it fix like the narrative shit if he didn't remember anyone, he would be a lot weaker. So he'd be less of a asset as well.
The next thing I think is probably unlikely, or this might be a little bit more likely than Sasuke getting a new eye, and it would just be Sasuke getting like a Hashirama cell arm. If that happens, we may see Sasuke awaken another Rinnegan. It definitely wouldn't be as powerful as his last one because there wouldn't be any Hagoromo chakra, but
I don't even think it would have the Tomo in there if he does.
It would just be like a base Rinnegan or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, to talk about is just like getting into what happened to Momoshiki. Like, Momoshiki at this point in the manga, chapter 65 at least, his consciousness is very much still there. He's popped out numerous times at this point. I think it's 3 different times. We get to see his soul is still intact, unlike Ishiki's. But in the time skip, Boruto is using karma and without seemingly any Momoshiki drawbacks. It's been a few years, so it should have been done extracting. They mentioned that the drugs didn't really do anything, or at least Momoshiki says that. Like, what happens to Momoshiki? Does he get his soul extinguished somehow? Is there at least possible like friendship with Boruto? But you can go.
At least right now, there's no implications that Momo is going anywhere anytime soon. But like Six was about to get into, the 2 main routes we see this going is his soul gets extinguished or possible friendship with Boruto. Personally, I think the route they're gonna go is the soul being extinguished, because I don't think a friendship with someone as evil as Momoshiki would like make a lot of sense. I think it would be an ass pull if they do that. It'll kind of like just Kurama repeat.
It not only would be a Kurama repeat, which they're kind of not trying to do, right? Like, Seth talked about this in his Boruto the Honest Truth video, but it's more implied that Kawaki and Naruto is going to be like, oh, the bad guy Naruto versus the good guy Sasuke this time around. And Momo makes it seem like Boruto has to lose everyone close to him, and that's why he has such an interesting fate or whatever, something like that. Saying Boruto is going to get like this new demon alien friend to help him power up is just weird and improbable. Like, there's really no reason to even entertain it, but I just wanted to like mention it just to like sort of clown on the idea a little bit.
When I say this completely out of the question, like, of course it may be, right? It might possibly. We just think it's very improbable.
It's an example of low quality writing that just does not fit the Naruto franchise. Like,
it doesn't.
It just doesn't fit here. What happened to Konoha is pretty blatant. Like, we know Kawaki destroyed it. Like, Boruto says, Kawaki, can't believe you went this far. Sort of like extremely explicit, but like,
that's one of the things that's almost outright stated.
Yeah, but does Kawaki do it alone? Like, is Kawaki operating completely by himself, destroying Konoha? Like,
well,
it doesn't seem like that would be the case, right? Like, Kawaki, he uses fireball jutsu. At least where we see him now, Kawaki, it seems his affinity is fire style makes sense. He may not have been born in the land of fire like most Leaf Shinobi, but he then allied with that group, so it makes sense that he like uses fire style a lot. The village isn't on fire; it's just destroyed. So like,
it's just.
Like,
well, it does have minor spots of smoke. At least right now, Kawaki's like a not super good guy. But he's a good guy. He has a lot of love for Naruto. I think the only way he would do something like this is if he attacked it with a group and they like manipulated him in the upcoming chapters. Because changing that much alone seems to I can't even imagine how that can happen. It has to be some manipulation going on. So I think he is with a group and they attack the village.
The next part of this has to deal with pretty much explicitly Kara people. Like, where's Amato? What happened to the Ten Tails? Where's Code? Did Delta ever wake up? Where's Koji? Howard, Ida, and Damon?
Yes.
Those people, we have no idea. Like, will Delta ever wake up? Probably not. At least not the one that was put to sleep at the hideout. But we get to see Amato building a new cyborg, right? And the hair kind of looks like Delta, so maybe we'll get like a good girl version of Delta or something like that. Which would be heat.
Hopefully, I'm hoping. Delta's one of my favorite characters. I actually like her as a character. She strikes me as a Dragon Ball character. Not to say she's playing, but just attacking.
What happened to Amato? Like, I don't know. Amato seems just way too sus, honestly. Like, if I'm just being honest, right? Like, where my heart is telling me to go is that Amato eventually just betrays the Leaf, and he gets like killed or something like that, maybe by Kawaki. That's literally just where what my heart is telling me. But the more I think about it, maybe it's implied like Amato is sort of changing, and it like that sneakiness is just kind of in his nature. Like, maybe he's not actually a bad guy, but he's just sort of sneaky that way, or he just kind of talks that way or whatever. I mean, because most of his life he had to be secretive, right? Because he tried to keep a bunch of shit from Jigen. So maybe it's just like,
for sure.
I don't know.
With the motto, I kind of agree with Six here that maybe he tried to betray the Leaf. That's what my gut is telling me. But I also see an alternative route, and where like he tries to become an Otsutsuki and transcend, like that transcendent Otsutsuki we see in, I forgot what chapter it is, but when Ishiki's about to be extinguished completely and talks to Code.
Yeah, this
I feel like he tries to do that.
But we get to see
it isn't in the anime.
A picture of an Otsutsuki god, at least according to Jigen.
Amato, since he's kind of weak right now, I feel like he's just secretly planning to become very powerful. He can't really protect himself right now. At least as far as we know, he might. Again, he's a secretive person. He might have something like that. But he tries to transcend, and maybe he fails and dies, or he succeeds and he's the one manipulating Kawaki. I see it going the route like that, kind of.
With that would like lead into like what happened to the Ten Tails, because if he's gonna try to do that, Amato's gonna need the Ten Tails in order to even complete it. I personally think that Ten Tails is gonna get turned into a chakra fruit at some point. I don't know who's gonna eat it. But I mean, I just hope that this happens. Really, like, I just want to see it happen just one time. I want to see an Otsutsuki get genetically updated. I just think it would be cool as shit.
I feel like the only real thing close enough to Otsutsuki genetic update is Fuse Momoshiki, but it's not in the like karma form or the way they explain it traditionally. That seems to be something else Momoshiki just has the ability to do. I would like to see an on-screen traditional version of that.
As far as Ada and Damon, we really don't have enough information about them. I mean, it's sort of just like, as far as we know right now anyway, they're just gonna die. Like, the way I see it going is there's gonna be some exploited weakness in both of their abilities, and they'll be beaten up and killed.
It's sad to see because I really like the whole concept they got going on, but they're most likely just going to be these new kind of side villains because Code is the main villain of this arc, and they're just going to die by having a main problem with their ability exploited. I completely agree with Six on that.
That's all we really have to say about this. I mean, like we said in the beginning, there's not much information given to us about the time skip. We just thought we'd share a few thoughts we had, a few theories. If you have any theories of your own, obviously, put them in the comment section. We read the comments sometimes. Sometimes there's just dumb stuff down there, but go check out Troy's channel. It's pretty good. Not that good. It's not good. Don't go check it out. But yeah, have a nice day.